Welcome to my channel. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. Story 1. Man, you ever hear a story that feels so real? It's like it could happen to you. This is one of those stories, and I swear it's stuck with me ever since I first heard it. It's about a guy named Sam. And let me tell you, it's one of those things that makes you second guess being outside after dark. One night, Sam was at his cousin's house for a party. You know how those go. Music blasting, food everywhere, and people talking over each other. By the time it ended, it was pretty late, like close to midnight. Sam offered to walk home because it wasn't that far, just a few blocks down the road. His cousin tried to get him to stay the night, but Sam waved him off, saying, "What's the worst that could happen? Ghost's gonna come get me?" He laughed, but his cousin didn't. "Just don't look back," his cousin said, real serious. Sam rolled his eyes and left. The streets were empty and the streetlights barely worked. You know how, in some neighborhoods, they flicker on and off like they're haunted or something? Yeah, it was one of those nights. Sam was walking along, hands in his pockets, whistling to himself to kill the silence. The air felt wrong, though, like something was off, but he blamed it on being tired. Then he started hearing footsteps behind him. At first he thought it was just his imagination. You know how sometimes you think you hear something, but it's nothing? Yeah, he figured it was that. But the footsteps didn't stop. They matched his pace, step for step. If he sped up, they sped up. If he slowed down, they did too. Sam stopped in his tracks and laughed, trying to shake off the nerves. "All right, who's messing with me?" he called out. No answer. He turned around, but there was nothing there, just the empty road and those flickering streetlights. He shrugged it off, thinking maybe it was an echo or something. Sam's heart started pounding, but he told himself he wasn't scared. He kept walking, trying to act normal, but his legs felt like jelly. Then he heard a voice. It was soft at first. "Sam." He froze. He knew he shouldn't look back, but his whole body screamed at him to turn around. That's when his mom's voice popped into his head saying, "Never look back." It felt like she was right there warning him, but the voice behind him didn't stop. "Sam, why won't you look at me?" It sounded like his cousin's voice, but it was wrong, too high-pitched. Sam clenched his fists and kept walking. "Sam, it's me. Don't you recognize my voice?" He wanted to scream, to tell it to shut up, but he didn't dare open his mouth. His steps quickened, and so did the voice's pleading. It was louder now, and he could feel its presence, like it was breathing down his neck. "Just look back. Why won't you look back?" It was so loud. It drowned out everything else, the wind, the trees, even his own thoughts. But he kept going faster and faster until he was practically running. Then he saw it. Out of the corner of his eye, there was a shadow, long and crooked, stretching across the ground. It wasn't his shadow. It moved differently, jerking and twitching like it didn't belong to this world. Sam's chest felt tight, like he couldn't breathe, but he didn't stop. The voice changed. It wasn't begging anymore. "You think you can ignore me? You think you're safe? Look at me." The footsteps behind him turned into stomping, like whatever was chasing him was furious. He didn't dare look back, though. He didn't even blink. Finally, he saw the street that led to his house. Relief washed over him, but then the stomping stopped. The air went completely still, and for a moment he thought it was over. That's when he felt a cold hand grab his shoulder. It was ice cold, like touching frozen metal. His body locked up, and he could feel its grip tightening, pulling him back. The voice was right next to his ear now, whispering, "Just one look. That's all I want." Sam bit down on his lips so hard he tasted blood, but he didn't look back. He couldn't. Instead, he yanked himself free and bolted. He didn't care if he looked stupid running like that. He just needed to get home. When he reached his house, he slammed it behind him, locked it, and collapsed onto the floor, gasping for air. For a while, he just sat there, staring at the door, waiting for something to happen. But nothing did. No footsteps, no voice, nothing. It was like whatever had followed him just stopped. The next morning, he told his cousin what happened. His cousin didn't laugh or say, "I told you so." Instead, he said something that sent chills down Sam's body. "You're lucky you didn't look back," his cousin said, "because if you did, it wouldn't have let you go." Sam didn't know what to say. He just nodded, and from that day on, he never walked alone at night again. Story 2. I wasn't even planning to go out. I was just sitting around thinking about nothing in particular. My buddy Seng called, said he was heading to this party, and asked if I wanted to tag along. I didn't feel like being alone, so I said, "Yeah, sure. Why not?" It wasn't a big party or anything, just a bunch of Hmong kids from the neighborhood hanging out at someone's place. We played some card games, told some dumb jokes, and stuffed ourselves with food. It was fun. But after a while, I started to feel kind of weird. Not sick or anything, just off, like there was this heavy feeling sitting on my chest. I ignored it though, figured it was just the vibe of the night. When things started winding down, Sang offered to give me a ride home, but I waved him off. My place wasn't far, just a few blocks. It was a cool night, with a soft breeze rolling through. Walking would clear my head, I thought. So I said my goodbyes, and off I went. The streets were quiet, not a car or person in sight, just the of street lights and the crunch of my sneakers on the pavement. Everything was still, like the whole world had paused just for me. It was nice, peaceful, until it wasn't. I was maybe halfway home when I noticed something out of the corner of my eye. It was small at first, like a flicker of movement just on the edge of my vision. I stopped and turned to look, but there was nothing there, just an empty sidewalk and some bushes swaying in the wind. I shook my head and laughed to myself, probably just tired, I thought. I kept walking, trying to ignore the nagging feeling that something was following me, but it was there, this shadow. At first it stayed far back, just barely in my peripheral vision, but the closer I got to home, the closer it seemed to creep. I kept telling myself it was nothing, just my imagination, but my gut was screaming at me to run. I turned onto the street where I lived, and that's when I heard it. Footsteps light and soft, almost like they were trying not to be heard. My heart started pounding. I whipped around, expecting to see someone behind me, but the street was empty. I tried to laugh it off, but my voice came out shaky. "All right," I said out loud, more to myself than anything. "You're freaking yourself out. There's nothing there. Just go home." But as I turned back to keep walking, I saw it, standing right under a streetlight a few houses down from mine. It was a figure, tall and thin, with long dark hair hanging over its face. My breath caught in my throat. It didn't move. It just stood there staring at me, or at least, I think it was staring. I couldn't see its eyes. My legs felt like jelly, but somehow I managed to keep walking. I didn't look at it. I didn't even glance. Just kept my eyes straight ahead and prayed it wouldn't follow me. When I reached my driveway, I felt this wave of relief wash over me. I was safe, almost there. But just as I stepped onto my porch, I felt it, that heavy, suffocating feeling again, like the air had been sucked out of my lungs. I turned around, and there it was, the figure. It had followed me. This time it was closer, so close I could see its face, or what was left of it. Its mouth was twisted into this horrible grin, but its eyes were empty. I wanted to scream, but no sound came out. My body froze. All I could do was stand there staring back at it. Then it started to move. It came closer and closer, and all I could do was back up until I hit the door. Finally, my legs snapped out of it and I fumbled for my keys. My hands were shaking so bad I almost dropped them. Somehow, I managed to get the door open and slam it shut behind me. I leaned against the door, panting like I just run a marathon. My chest felt like it was going to explode, but the house was quiet, safe. I told myself it was over. Just some kind of, I don't know, hallucination or something. Maybe I'd had too much to drink at the party. Yeah, that had to be it. I locked the door, turned off the lights, and went to bed. But the night wasn't done with me yet. I woke up in the middle of the night to this sound, a tapping, soft but steady. It was coming from my window. I didn't want to look. Every part of me was screaming not to look, but I couldn't help it. Slowly, I turned my head toward the window, and there it was, that face pressed up against the glass, grinning at me with those empty eyes. I don't remember much after that, just that I screamed, and when I opened my eyes, it was morning. The sun was shining, birds were chirping, and everything seemed normal. But when I looked at the window, there was something there, a single handprint smeared across the glass. I've heard stories like this before, about spirits following people home. My grandma used to say that if you ever feel like something's following you, you're not supposed to look at it. Just keep walking and don't acknowledge it. I wish I'd listened. Thank you for listening to this video. I'll see you in the next one.